Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mining Office YouTube channel. My name is Nick, you guys probably know that by now, and today we have a very special guest joining us. You all probably already know him, but if you don't, I'll give him a minute to introduce himself. It's the Hobbyist Miner, so take it away.
How's it going, guys? Welcome. First off, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the channel first before we get started for the Mining Office. But yes, my name is the Hobbyist Miner. I have been within the mining and content creation scene for just under a year now, about 11 months actually to the day. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on and hanging out with the Mining Office.
Thank you very much, Hobbyist. Great to have you on. Just to give a little context to all the audience, first off, I reached out to you because I wanted you to participate in the video series I have going on, which is basically myself asking other crypto YouTubers what they do with their mined crypto. And you stepped up to the plate. You said you would do me one better. You would have a one-on-one conversation like this. We could discuss some topics, shoot you some questions. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the quick chat. And yeah, without any further delays, we'll get into our first topic. So the first one, I know you discussed this with Red Fox and Chum Change during episode 4 of your mining roundtable. I watched it this morning, but since this is the topic of my video series, I'll ask it anyway. So what is your strategy for the crypto that you mine?
Sure, great question. So as I said, I started mining February 15th, actually, was the first video I created and started mining. And up till about 2 months ago, I was a hodler through and through. Hadn't cashed out one thing. And at that point, I had mined Ethereum, Ravencoin, Ergo, Ethereum Classic, and Flux at that time. And that's kind of what I was holding within my wallets there. And then I had a few speculative coins that have kind of come and gone. Some fun ones like Ravencoin Lite and Hivecoin and a few other ones out there. So to answer really your deep down question, I started out as a hodler, and about 2 months ago or so, I decided to play the game of cashing out 50% of what I hodled. So I went ahead and did that, went through that exercise. It was a lot of work, going from hodling to getting it into markets, onto websites, dealing with fees, and then going ahead and cashing it out. And I did cash out about 50%, nice little chunk of change, which was nice. But the second I cashed that out, I regretted it. And since then, I have not done it once.
Yeah, and once you sell, I guess it makes it real, right? It makes that magic internet money into something real. And yeah. I mean, I pretty much have the same approach. I haven't sold anything yet, and I think once I get to that point of selling, I'll probably be in the exact same situation as you. As once I do it, I kind of have that bit of regret, you know. And it's a good thing Red Fox isn't here because I thought I heard you say Ravencoin Lite, but I'll let that slide. Sorry, I had to get that in.
That's right. Yeah, definitely.
I had to get that one in. We'll circle back to that after. We can get into our second question here. Speaking of Ravencoin, today was the Ravencoin Halving. For everybody listening, this is recorded on the 11th of January, 2022. And so, yeah, the block reward went down from 5,000 Raven to 2,500 Raven coin. So I have 2 questions for you regarding Raven. Do you plan on taking any hash rate, any GPUs off Raven coin in the short term, given that in reality the profitability of Raven just halved, from one block to another?
So the short answer is no. The long answer is I've been mining Raven coins since I first started. So my first GPU I bought up not knowing anything. I look back on it, it's crazy. I think it was a year ago. Was the 970. I blatantly went out and bought a 970 and was like, I'm going to use this as a guinea pig. And it was getting 5 mega hash on Ravencoin, and that was my first GPU in February. So moving ahead there with the first 3 months, I moved to the RX 470s and 570s, Sapphire Nitros. So a big improvement there. And I've been mining on them ever since. So I have a 12 GPU rig. It originally was a hanging rack rig with an H110 Pro BTC motherboard. And I had it in a grow tent for months and months, up until I got an Octominer case. And then I moved it to the Octominer, and that's where it sits. And that's where it's going to stay. I don't really have any plans for it. I believe in the Ravencoin project, and I believe that it has more potential than what it has now. So the halving happened, and it was kind of very lackluster.
Anticlimactic, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of expect like this big pop, and it's just kind of okay. Now the difficulty is different. So now I think, from my head, we need to kind of wait for that difficulty to catch up, and kind of see how the market reflects it and what happens with the price of Ravencoin as we go from there. There's a lot of people that were saying they don't expect anything. They expect it to stay exactly the same. It should really be unique, to say the least. But in my case, I got 12 GPUs dedicated to it, and I plan to stay that way.
Cool, cool. I mean, that's perfect. It leads us kind of into the second question I have on Ravencoin, which is what's your opinion on it long term? So I think you
Sure.
you sort of answered that, but go ahead if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, long term, I would say my opinion of Ravencoin has changed over the last 11 months. So originally, I had a lot more support then than I do now for Ravencoin, at least with confidence. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is over the last 6 months, a lot of other coins have developed and a lot of other projects have piggybacked on a lot of those coins. I look at ones like Flux, and I look at ones like Solana, and a lot of the NFTs that are coming about and projects that are coming about, Web 3.0, and a lot of these, we'll call them next generation projects that are kind of taking crypto to the next level. I think Ravencoin is very much evidence of the kicking off point with crypto,
Hmm.
and which is crazy to think because crypto is so new and young. But now that I look at what these other projects and algorithms are involved with, and then I look back on Ravencoin and I go, you're not as attractive anymore. Like looking at longevity, I don't know, unless Ravencoin makes some big moves anytime soon, that the price is going to change or that it'll be around for a while. There's just so many better options. And as a miner, which my audience is targeted towards, same as your audience,
Hmm.
we're looking for profitability, which means it's the most amount of hash rate for the least amount of watts. And Ravencoin doesn't do that for us at the current time. There's a lot of other better options as a miner.
Yeah, that's some very insightful stuff. I mean, Ravencoin, I think one of the big things it has going for it is that it has a limited supply, right? Like Bitcoin,
Sure.
it's 21 billion instead of the 21 million.
Mhm.
So that's a big advantage. But I totally agree with you in the sense that the development compared to other blockchains and other coins is quite slow, right? So there is advantages to having no IPO. There's no CEO of Ravencoin. There's nobody who has a huge bag that can just dump it because they bought it at the beginning. So there's advantages to this of it being super decentralized and all that. But the thing is, all the progress is made by community members who are unpaid, right? Who do this just for the project,
Correct.
and that, I mean, definitely slows down the progress. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think like you're saying, it's kind of a fight to keep up to date and kind of stay relevant, in today's market, which is changing all the time in terms of cryptocurrency, at least. So cool. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, really glad you added that. Very insightful. So now I want you to sort of teach me something. I see so many
Okay.
Flux videos on your channel, man. So many.
Love
You're
Flux.
dropping. Yeah, I can tell. I see Red Fox too. He's into Flux a lot. So I have
That's
not.
Flux right behind me, right here.
There you go.
Ethereum behind Flux right there.
I might have to start soon, man. I mean, especially after Ethereum goes proof of stake, I think the big three will be Flux, probably Ravencoin, and maybe ETC. Again, I don't know too much about ETC, but it seems like there's still a big following there. So I think those will be the big three. And I don't know too much about Flux. So why are I mean, I'm figuring you're bullish about it. So if so, why are you so bullish about it? And as a total Flux noob here, what would you tell me to get me hyped up and you know get me wanting to mine Flux?
Sure, sure. So Flux is kind of a mix of all worlds, and it is this oddball alternative. It's been around for a while, before my time within the last 11 months, and we referenced Red Fox Crypto. He actually turned me on to it originally, and he's been mining it since day one, which goes back several years, and I'm super envious of him for that. The biggest reason is because of one, how the price has grown over the years. It wasn't worth anything when it started, and now it's, I think, over $3. Could be just a little less, depends on the market today. But the biggest thing that is attractive to me is the parallel assets. So
Hmm.
those of your audience that aren't familiar, and most people aren't, is imagine mining something, but at the same time you're actually also mining other coins, and then once every 2 weeks or so you get paid out for those that get converted back to Flux, and then you get paid out extra Flux. So you're doing one set of work, but you're getting paid out for multiple avenues of revenue. And that's what makes it so attractive to me as a miner. I came in later to the game. So what they did is they do something called like snapshots. So what occurs is when you start mining Flux, depending on when you start mining Flux, it determines on like how many credits you get, you could say, or how much of the parallel asset you've mined. And then they will pay you out retroactively, which is really nice. So for me, I ended up with a couple hundred extra Flux just because of the fact that I was mining it at the time that they went ahead and they took that snapshot. It's like, okay, how much Flux, where are you at right now? And then, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to release that, let's say it's Flux Solana is the kind of combination parallel asset. So for someone like me, I came in, later to the Flux game, but I look back at somebody, Red Fox Crypto, great example. I mean, he's been mining it for years. So he had thousands and thousands of additional Flux available to him when parallel assets started to get paid out. And now the nice thing is, as a miner, they're introducing more and more parallel assets as time goes on. So originally there was a few, and now more and more and more. So now the nice thing is like I'm in early enough now where like I can participate in benefiting from mining Flux now when each of these parallel assets releases. So putting aside theorizing on where this will go, just the fact of from a profitability perspective, it's been super attractive to me. Now, looking at Flux moving forward, Flux has a lot going on with it, and I think that's what makes it attractive. There was just an announcement recently of a partnership with NVIDIA and integration there within Flux. And then on top of that, you have a lot of talk with Web 3.0 that's involved there, and now there's some chat with NFTs. It's just like everything new age is around Flux. And so a lot of people, you brought it up, and it was the fact of, is Flux the next ETH? And it very well could be. It very well could be. It has a lot behind it. It has grown significantly. And I have more confidence in something like Flux right now than I do Ravencoin looking forward to the next 12 months.
Wow. I'm really glad I asked you that. That's all news to me. For those who maybe didn't watch the last episode of the Mining Roundtable, I believe you guys discussed what you're talking about more in episode 3. It might be episode 2. I'll go back and check, and I'll link it in the video here. But yeah, you guys had a pretty good discussion on Flux. So if anybody's like me and needs any more resources, you can check out that episode. If not, Hobbyist and Red Fox, they have a vast amount of videos on their channels. So make sure to check that out. I have a fourth question for you. This one is less towards crypto mining and more towards YouTube, all right?
Okay.
As people probably know and can see right now, you've done a face reveal recently. I personally am thinking of doing that at a certain point, at probably a certain subscriber mark, just kind of to build up the hype.
Nice.
And I'm curious to know, do you think that helps your channel growth, having sort of a face in front of the brand, the channel?
So it's really interesting. I did gaming content for about 9 years, and it was very lackluster, not very successful, just a very saturated market, very difficult to pop off into. And about 6 months before I got started with content creation, so going back here in 2020, I started to do my research into the crypto mining YouTube content creation scene and like what content creators were in that scene, what were they doing, what were they not doing. And I saw Red Panda not showing his face, and I was like, that's an interesting approach. So I started to ask myself, like, why? Like, what's the value of that? And then I started doing some research into a few other scenes and some of the behavioral aspects of viewers. And so one thing that we as viewers that we naturally do is, we click on a really catchy thumbnail. And then if we see someone's face and something about them bothers us, and we're human, that's just how we are. In the first 10 to 30 seconds, we're clicking off that video. So we haven't even judged the content as it being of value. We've just judged the individual presenting the content. And so I was like, you know what? I'm stepping into a new scene. I want my audience to judge my content, not me as a person. And I had no fear, like, oh, I'm an ugly dude, like I can't put myself in front of a camera, or they're going to judge me or whatever. That was not not my direction. My entire direction was, and it wasn't about security either. I wasn't like, okay, I'm stepping into a unsure type of scene. So I don't know if I want to show my face, if it, the risk. That was not the case. It was purely from a marketing content perspective. So after I had gone ahead and kicked off the channel and it grew very quickly, one of my challenges started bothering me was the fact of like, now I had to make a conscious effort to hide my face. So like, panning in front of a window, or that surface was too shiny, and then I started to get into content in podcast and show format. So Meet the Miner and Mining Roundtable. And I think with Meet the Miner, it really hit home where I started to sit down and interview some really great people, and it really disconnected the interview when they couldn't see my face. Like, I'm the guy, nothing towards you right now.
I was going to say,
guy,
like I'm doing to you.
yeah, it's okay. And but I'm the guy interviewing these people. And what really pushed me over the edge was I did an interview with Bitsby Trippin, and I was like, all right, I'm going to test the waters here. I'm going to show him my face and see how that works. And there was just the chemistry was so much better. I mean, him and I went to chat after the video stopped recording for like over an hour, just shoot the shit, chat, and type of deal. And but during that recording, he had a TV behind him that was off, so it reflected. So between him and like a small area, you could see my face. And at first, it like really popped. Oh no! And then I was like, this is dumb. Like, this is really stupid. So I made the conscious decision where I was like, okay, I hit 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. I must be doing something right. And I was like, so I'm just going to go for it. And so my content has stayed the same. I'm still point and shoot and behind the camera, but in select types of formats and contents like this, like Meet the Miner, like Mining Roundtable, I'm going to show my face. So it's a fun little treat. It's something different, but my content type hasn't changed for my audience. And it's been great. It's been a very natural progression. And what the biggest evidence of the value of this was when we did do Meet the Miner with Red Fox Crypto in person at his house, and it was just him and I sitting at a tabletop, chatting away. There were so many comments that him and I got on, love the format, love the chemistry. It felt so natural, and I was like, that's what I want. So that's when I knew like I made a good decision moving forward.
Yeah, and it was just two guys with beers enjoying themselves, and I think that's really what people want to see the most, So I know I watched that. It was fantastic, and I think it was a great reveal episode, a great way to do it, and it wasn't focused on that either. It was sort of just, look, we're doing the episode. There's nothing special about it. There wasn't any, big hype built up about it. It was just like, here it is, and so it's cool to know that kind of that was the moment too with BBT, that you kind of just said, you know what, I'm letting it go. This is it. I'm done with it. And also interesting, like I can tell, and also from watching some other of your videos and podcasts where you talk about this, but you've done a lot of research into the behavioral aspect of people and viewers on YouTube and how to grow the channel. So that's some really insightful stuff. I think I've made that comment for like all of your answers, but I just love hearing you talk and go on about this stuff. And I feel like you could go on, and it's great, man. I love picking your brain. So that's fantastic.
Absolutely. I enjoy this stuff.
Yeah, I'm really happy to have you on. So those are like the only 4 long questions I had. I have a few other quick fire ones, just personal ones I'm wondering. So we'll go through them quickly. If you want to give a longer answer, you can go for it, but you can just give a 1 or 2 liner as well. All right. So first one, I'm wondering, how many GPUs at this point have you got?
62.
62. That's pretty insane. And they are all, correct me, they're all in your house right now?
They're all in my house in that mining room right there, except for 6 that are upstairs in my 4th bedroom to help heat my upstairs.
Congrats, man. Congrats. That's quite an achievement, and I hope to get there someday as well. So congratulations on that. Well, that'll lead us into our next one. With all those GPUs, what are all the different coins you're mining? And if you're mining with, I don't know, a CPU, let's say Ethereum or whatnot, you can throw that in as well, right?
No CPU mining. I am mining Ethereum, Ergo, Ethereum Classic, and Ravencoin, and then Flux.
All right, so a good variety, but not, how to say this, oversaturating kind of what you're holding. You know, not getting into too many different bags, and then you're holding a bunch of coins that at the end of the day, well, half of them might go to zero, and you sort of wasted your hash power. So cool.
Yeah, so a lot of that is because of the fact of diversifying. So, like, I'm a strong
Hmm.
believer in diversification, and so a lot of people will go, "Why don't you just have everything on ETH?" Well, I have a large percent of 4 gig cards, and
Yeah.
I have, with that in mind, you can't mine ETH. But also, I like to diversify because eventually we're going to see. I call it the age of altcoins, but once ETH goes to point of stake, everything's going to pivot, and it's going to be the Wild West for a little while. So that's why I'm kind of getting into Ethereum Classic, because I think a lot of hash rate's going to go there because a lot of the big farms could pivot to there quickly. And then I also believe in just what I've seen with Ergo and how that's grown, and then finally Flux. So for me, it's because I'm not doing this for pure profitability per day, per week, or per month. That's why I'm diversifying. If I was purely trying to live off of my profitability, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, I think I sort of take the same approach, so I completely understand what you're saying there. So let's kind of go into a hypothetical scenario this time. It's the end of the GPU world tomorrow. There are no more GPUs made, all right? Only the GPUs that are out now are the ones that will ever exist, and you can only choose between AMD or NVIDIA cards. What are you picking? And you have to pick a
AMD.
certain card. It's a brand, so you're going with AMD
AMD.
cards. Yeah.
AMD. It's really funny. I started with AMD, and AMD is always people will say is much more difficult to configure, to overclock, to deal with. So it actually worked out well that I started with AMD, being my bread and butter, the RX 470s and 570s, and then I worked in NVIDIA because it was like it was so easy. It was like, wait, in NVIDIA, you set 3 fields. That's it. Okay, this is really easy for overclocking. So yes, AMD.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to experiment with AMD cards too much. I have one RX 588 gigabyte that a community
Awesome.
member actually sent me to test out with. But since I'm running
Wow.
it under Windows, it's like so much trouble getting it running with
Yep.
NVIDIA cards in parallel. So I'm waiting to get a separate rig going and all that. But yeah, like you're playing with the voltage instead of just power limits and stuff like that. So it's a bit different, and I can't
Yep.
wait to get into it. You know. So again,
Yeah.
if I have any questions, I know who to reach out to.
Hit me up. Hit me up. Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, so this is the last one I got for you.
Awesome.
Again, it's an ultimatum choice. Are you going
Okay.
server case for your mining rigs, or are you going open air frame?
Hmm. So I like the answer of someone else had actually answered this in the past that I've heard the same question come up with. So the server case functionality is amazing. Like when I went to my Octo miner from an open air hanging GPU, the stability is insane. So the airflow is really like that cooling and airflow. You don't realize how good that is, which is great. The only downside is because of that insane airflow, you get a lot of dust and dirt that you do get into your rigs because of just how much air is piping through. So that's one thing. But on the other end, open air frames, they look cool. Like, let's be honest, they just look cool. Showing you a room full of metal boxes with fans on it and nothing else. So if I had to pick one over the other right now, I'm doing everything open air rigs because they look cool and it's great for YouTube.
I was just gonna say it's the more aesthetically pleasing, and if you're
Yep.
doing YouTube, you're gonna opt for that.
100%. 100%.
All right, wow. Hobbyist man, I really thank you for your time. That's all the questions I have for you.
Awesome.
If you have anything else to throw out there to the audience, I'll give you your time now to do that.
Awesome. Guys, please make sure that you go ahead and go down below and click the subscribe button. And don't forget to select that bell to be notified every time Mining Office goes ahead and drops a new video.
Oh, geez, that's generous. I didn't ask for that. Thank you very much, hobbyist.
Absolutely.
So again, I thank you very much. I really appreciate it. This was super insightful. I think all my viewers will really enjoy watching me pick your brain a bit on all these different subjects. It was very varied, and I really loved your responses. So
Thank you for
everybody out
having me.
there, I really appreciate you guys tuning into the video. Like Hobbyist said, smash the subscribe and the like buttons, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, Hobbyist, and all my viewers. Ciao, guys.